Part of me wants to punch you. Part of me wants to laugh at you.
Those also sound like my high school experience.
She just brings that light that I can't bring.
He kind of makes me more logical and more motivated. You're listening to Opposites Attract with J&T. Stay tuned for...
Shut up! You're such a butthead.
Your mixtape is fire.
Go listen to their podcast. They're telling you to drop out of high school.
Before we start the episode, you guys, we just wanted to thank you, first of all, for just listening to our high school experience and staying tuned with the episode. I promised myself I wasn't going to say staying tuned. Also, quick announcement, Taylor and I are going to try doing a non-explicit episode, meaning no bad words, so the freshmen can listen to it.
Sorry, freshmen, you're going to be perceived as babies, I guess, today.
No, we're not. We just want to have a non-explicit for all ages and ethnic backgrounds
Oh my
to
gosh.
be able to listen to this podcast without having a nice red E on us. We just wanted to wish you guys good luck. Today was the first day of high school for the high school goers.
Actually, it was yesterday.
Yesterday. And with that being now in light, is that what people say?
With that in light?
With that in light.
I don't know.
Now that we understand this factual information, now we maybe proceed into our episode about our advice.
This episode is going to be kind of rambly because...
It's not lit enough. We got to get lit. We got to take shots. We got to get it. Pump it out, Taylor. What is the advice?
Okay, the advice. Sorry, don't hurt your ears, but the advice is we both agreed. I was actually talking to my sister about this last night, that high school is a box. It's a box.
It's actually a building.
Okay, it's a building shaped like a box, if you want to get more technical with it, but it's not really that big for you to grow too much. I mean, I think from freshman to senior year, would you agree that you grew, like, you know, as a person more? Older? Mature? No? Yes?
I experienced different things.
But that kind of builds you up a little bit, you know? I mean, but you're only, 4 years older when you get to your senior year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to count on your finger.
That was a joke.
I know. You're only 4 years older, so, I mean, you're not growing up that much, but I definitely feel like there was a difference. But at the same time, I think what I experienced from all 4 years was that feeling like you are not going anywhere, kind of like you're running in place. And it's like, that's what high school is in a lot of people's
Yeah, you can have as
feelings.
many as A's as you want, but you're still as much as a bomb as the other guy that has an F, and he's a freshman.
I'm not saying that high school is a bad experience.
I'm
For some
saying
people,
it is.
okay, well, he didn't like high school. I didn't hate it.
I'm
I
not
just
saying
didn't love it.
I just don't like the system of it. The whole 7 hours in one spot 5 times a week, and you get nothing out of it, like whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you do have to go there by law, so that's why we were making this episodes to tell, to share the veteran stories of high school. Not stories, but advice, and not how we got through it. It wasn't like Vietnam or anything. We're not having flashbacks. But you know, there are things that you kind of need to understand, and we kind of talked about it in our bonus episodes, such as staying out of the drama, because it kind of gets you a little bit. What does drama do?
Makes everything chaotic and hurts you.
Yeah, it's very distracting, and you will sometimes. I'm sure a lot of people experience sitting on their bed crying at night. I'm sure you did that because you're a girl.
Hey.
Are you trying to argue the fact?
No.
Hey.
But
And then
there's
our
probably
second
many boys who have cried too. Boys can cry.
Yeah, you can. You're just not a boy then.
Shut up. You're such a butthead.
Anyway.
See?
And then our second episode, education, which we just talked about how. Why I'm not blanking on this. It's just we talked about like so many like opposite.
Education wasn't our second episode, our second bonus episode.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you said second episode.
Right.
I was confused.
But we're gonna try nitpicking stuff that we liked and actually thought were good advice.
Yeah.
In those things, and kind of add on. we kind of just missed the good old rambling episodes. Just, just going at it. That's what she said. And this is still non-explicit.
We're doing a pretty good job.
I wanted to start with education, the most important thing, because high school was really a time of education and of learning and really progressing yourself as a human and whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, it really did not feel like that at all.
No.
Especially since we were talking about how if you're not warmed up to the way people teach or the teachers how they teach in high school, you're not really going to get as much as the other kid who gets a hard on when it comes to reading textbooks. I can't wait to get the end and answer all the questions. Those kids.
We are still not explicit.
That's true. I actually had a kid in my math, and he was 2 years younger than me. I think I was a junior, and it was Algebra 2, and he was a freshman. And this kid, I thought he was a retard, not explicit. He wasn't there old, but I don't know why I thought that. That was the first thought I thought. But once when this kid started talking, he was an intellectual. You know how people, they just talk really fast, and they think they're all smart because they talk really fast. And
yeah.
But yeah, he was just super smart, and I actually started becoming more acquaintances, and then became friends and whatnot. But I figured out that this kid has already passed pre-calculus, but just because of the statutes of limitations on no, just kidding, that's not the same. But the limitations, he actually by law had to continue and stay and be in Algebra 2 because that's the highest.
Stupid.
That's the highest he can go. But still, so this kid was coding. He was coding on his laptop 24/7, and they didn't let him to use the laptop. Then all of a sudden, he started coding on his phone, and then he said he even got a calculator that he was able to code on.
No.
He was coding calculus programs, not programs, but equations and formulas onto the calculator. You know how calculators work. You press 2 + 2 and it gets you 4. Well, he was programming his calculator to do that. I'm not sure if he made one or whatever, and or that you can just buy one and you can plug in whatever.
Huh. That's pretty intense.
Yeah, this kid was a freaking genius, and we also had packets at the end of every week, and he always had them finished. And he was so I would talk to him, and then she would call him out.
Teachers
are. If you're talking, you're from hell or something. So they pick on you, and when they pick on you, this kid would, or when she picked on him, the smart kid in my class, he just always got it. He was one time he actually got in an argument with her, and she's like, I'm right and you're wrong. And they went after class. I obviously came, and
listened in.
They had 2 extra math teachers that were yeah, this kid's right.
No way.
You know what the funny thing is? The other 2 math teachers were wrong. It was in a packet, and they were crap, we did this wrong. Pretty funny. Anyway, Taylor, you need to start talking more.
No, I'm finishing up your story. I think that's a great point about why we think that high school kind of can put you in a box. But that kid is a great example of what we advise you to do, is just to keep doing you.
Yeah.
That box that was put on him, he can't go certain past a level.
He was going to college.
Screw that, okay? Screw that whole system. If you're super genius, then be super genius. If you are struggling a little bit, then work hard. Try to find what you can do in what you're given.
Yeah, because the sooner you find it, the sooner you could actually start living life.
Yeah,
that's what I believe.
And I think that it was really interesting to hear that. I've never actually heard that, because it's that's what frustrates me about high school, is that you feel like you can't be better than what is given to you, but you also need to be the best. It's weird. The system is kind of you can't be higher than what this is because it's against the regulations, but you also can't be stupid or else you fail everything, and you're
that's not true, man.
That's not true.
No kid left behind. Thanks, Bush. Piece of guy.
Still not explicit.
Yeah, so our tips, because the reason we're talking about not being limited by high school, because it really gets tedious, and you're really belittled to just this one thing. Everyone is filtered and put through the system, and whatever doesn't make it through, they're pretty much told that you can't amount to anything because you're doing that.
Yeah.
But then you go on SoundCloud and your mixtape is fire, and then and all of a sudden you get gunned down.
We have a friend.
R.I.P. X10.
Oh my gosh, no. Too soon. We have a friend that has done music his whole life, and he's just was doing music all throughout high school. He didn't care. He performed at school. He performed everywhere.
XXXTentacion?
No, we had a friend. Our friend.
Is he good? No.
Yeah.
Was he a senior?
He was in our class. Our grade.
Are you talking about the native kid?
No, I'm talking about he plays the violin, fiddle.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Good guy. And
Great guy.
He's going places.
He is going places, and he didn't let high school take over that drive to keep going. He found something outside of that box that kept him going, and he used the box to keep that fire. Because he performed at school, and he made connections at school, and he did other things. That's something that we recommend to you guys. Find your niche and go try to find it outside of high school too.
We're not really going to get in detail in our advice, just because we are not an advice preaching channel. Besides, when I say drop out of high school, that's the best advice.
Oh my God!
I could give you. Drop out if you have
Don't drop out, okay? That's bad advice.
But back to what I was saying, we're only kind of rambling because we're still babies.
Yeah.
And we don't really want to give the best advice, but if something tickles your ears, then use it.
Yeah.
Because we're not personally. I don't think we're giving bad advice.
No, I don't think so. I just think that.
Besides that, drop out of school.
Yeah.
I mean, stay in school. Don't stay in school. It's bad.
Ay. But I think just shifting a little bit, something else that we were talking about was how high school is filled with drama. In our first episode of this,
the first bonus episode.
Drama fitting. Oh, I guess drama was second episode. First bonus episode.
Yeah.
In that episode, we talked all about drama and we touched on a little bit of advice. But I think going back on that, that's something too that really kept me from crumbling in high school, was trying to stay as far away from it as possible, but also not being afraid to listen to it sometimes. Don't be so deeply involved, but don't try to shut everybody out, because it's impossible,
Yeah, that just from staying out of the drama, I kind of taught myself on how to be my own person and really not look at people's opinions as some type of standard for myself.
Yeah.
So that was pretty important. Because then I that's why I'm in this, I'm such an advocate of dropping out of high school, because I really believe that everyone has this immense talent that will impact the world.
Babe, we cannot go tell our viewers to drop out of high school. Do not drop out of high school, okay? That's bad advice. Finish high school at least. You don't have to go to college if you don't want to, but finish high school at least, because then you have a high school diploma. Or at least get your GED. Do something. Don't just don't be a flake. Stop it.
All of my aunts and uncles are immigrants, and they're cashed, man.
Okay, but
they're doing quite well.
I mean, obviously, parents are going to be go listen to their podcast. They're telling you to drop out of high school. How is that going to float?
You drop out. You do whatever you do to the frick you want to do. I really love the topic of edumacation. You might get annoyed with that, and I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed with that title too. But really, it's just a play on words. Take that, high school. Damn it! It just really symbolizes that high school was just, because if you think about it, what did you learn? Is there anything that you've learned that has helped you in your future life?
As far as content?
I mean, when I recall, I think I remember at least in every single year, in every single one of my subjects, there was one kid that always asked, how does this have to apply in life?
Yeah, there's always that one kid.
And actually, the only time I've heard someone say, it was my neighbor who told us that when he was a cop, he had to learn algebra, or was it pre-calculus, determining how long, if a car hits the brakes, how long is the tread on the concrete, and that will help you determine the speed of the car, and then you could dictate whose fault was it.
There's definitely places for it, but
that was also in the 80s, and now we have like a lot of search engines to look that stuff up. But really, I feel like the reason we are trying to give it advice, and what we're the biggest thing that we're saying is really find yourself in that terrible situation.
What? Find yourself in that terrible situation?
Yeah, find yourself in a terrible situation.
I was thinking about the way you worded it. I was thought about it so differently. He means, if you guys were confused like I was, try to find who you are while you're still in that box, like if you can, you know. What do you mean? Oh, in the education part, you mean? What do you mean then? Explain yourself.
I was just saying it's not a box.
Why is it not a box?
It's a box if you stay in school, so drop out, then you don't have to be in the box.
Stop it. But yeah, I mean, the things that I learned were like kind of basic, were like how to write an essay. I learned some basic math. I mean, I still retain some stuff, but like as far as like longevity of using it goes, I don't think it's really like
Is that all
for
you
my
learned?
life.
How to write an essay?
No, I'm sure I learned
if
more.
that's the
but
case, guys, we'll teach you
I
how to
learned
write an essay
psychology.
right
Okay,
now.
I learned some
That
psychology
was in
stuff.
college.
No, I learned some
yeah.
in high school. So, what's up?
Did that really pertain?
Yeah, it was like a whole overview of like everything. It was like your
My 101?
yeah, but it was AP, and I could do it in. I got a really good grade on that AP test. Can you stop?
So did I.
You didn't take the AP test.
I didn't have to because I took it in colegio. Or
Yeah.
college. Colegio was high school in Spanish.
Well, yeah. As far as education goes, do your best, I guess. Do your homework. Do your homework. You
was-
hate it.
Dude, I remember
Just graduate.
I remember in senior year, I was, I'm like, man, like, I'm dumb. And then I just started doing my homework, and I'm like, okay, yeah,
You're not.
like, I could do this.
Yeah, it's not that
Then
difficult.
I was like, I don't want to get A's. Like, I really don't care about it at all. But, like, when it came to, like, the only reason I kind of clutched up because I didn't know where I was going. So, and I knew that I had a scholarship to one of the schools that I wanted to go. And, so I kind of just clutched up and got the good grades. And, like, I was on, like, I made it by .01 GPA.
No way. So yeah, if anything, get good grades or as best grades as you can get.
Yeah,
You know, don't kill yourself.
Well, depending on where you want to go after.
Yeah.
school.
So if you want to go to like college, then try your best because that's important to into getting into college. But if you don't, then kind of determine. But I think something that's most unattractive to me is seeing somebody that just doesn't care. Like I really hate like when you're a slacker and you think you're cooler than school. Just do it. Like
Those
it's
guys were so fun, though.
sure they were fun, but what did they graduate?
Yeah, everyone graduated.
No, there were some people that didn't graduate.
Ooh.
I don't know, but there were some people that didn't.
I don't know.
There's there's some people that don't graduate because they just slack off. But it's also just like
Everyone
it doesn't.
graduated.
Okay, how about this? Here, let me reorient it then this way. You don't look cool to the outside people. You don't attract people that you want around if you just slack off. You attract the slackers. You
agree
attract
with
the
that.
people
I
that
agree with that.
that go down bad paths. And it's like, is that really what you want? You know, and if that's what you want, then I guess do it. But it's like,
That's some really good advice because I've really learned about how people really influence you.
mm-hmm.
I mean, just like that invisible force that kind of forces you to do something because that's what's the trend. You know, like if you have $50 in your pocket and you have a choice to eat or you have a choice to buy those new white Vans because that damn Daniel Vine is going on, you buy the Vans. It's like you're really influenced, and especially like that example with social media and just what's trendy. You know, like if you're not wearing that Stusty, then you're like a bum boy.
That what?
The Stusty, that
What's
brand.
that?
It's like, damn, Daniel.
What?
Stusty. It's a brand. STUSSY.
Oh, you have to show me later. I've never seen that.
Stussy.
I'm not up with the trends,
It's
apparently.
Stussy. It's not a trend anymore.
Oh, well, I'm not up with the
It
past
was
trends.
damn Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's. Is there anything else that you want to say?
I think that, another thing was, like, with friends, like, I think that, sorry, there's a fly in here. With friendships, don't try to put yourself in a box with them either. Because, like, yeah, we all have to be a part of the high school box, and that's kind of inevitable. But with friends, you don't have to do that. You don't have to try to make yourself fit in with them. And I think that that's a really important, because if you if you find people that you vibe with, then it makes it a lot better to go through high school, because then you can complain together and you can have fun together. You can do things together. You don't have to be stuck in this like, oh my gosh, I'm alone. High school sucks. I hate my life kind of thing. It can be more like, high school sucks, but I have people that I care about here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you never know. Those friendships could last forever if you are really good friends with them. I think that that's a good thing too. Make the most of it. I think that's the biggest thing I can say. Make the most of a crappy situation, you know. And I think that's.
I feel bad for teachers.
Why?
Because most of their time goes into like what day they're gonna strike.
What do you mean? What day they're gonna strike?
Remember in our high school, like they striked and they were like kind of like off and on about when they were gonna do it.
Do what?
A strike. Do you know what that means, Taylor?
The way you've been saying things, when they're gonna strike, like it sounds like when they're gonna like take action, but like for what? That's what it made it. I didn't understand it as an actual strike. I don't think like that.
Guys, don't drop out. Seriously.
Don't drop out. Seriously.
No, I'm talking about you.
What do you mean? You
You're
think
like,
I'm stupid?
You're like, words. What are you confused about?
You just explain things differently than I understand them, okay? This is why we're opposites, babe.
We're opposites through our experiences.
And how we act and think. Roast.
Really it's the only reason I'm saying the things I say is because that was my experience. Taylor really had that whole bourgeoisie kind of experience where high school is like this part of your life that you're like never gonna get in like ever again, and like you have to make the most of it and get to like every rapper check.
No, you don't. No, I'm not saying that at all. Did I say that?
Oh,
no.
Wait, hold up. I'm just saying that you had like, for you, high school was a little bit more built for your brain and the way you learn and the way you do things and like
Truly.
where you were raised and your like social class.
Truly.
And for me, it was this like, I was really not hurt. What is that word? I don't know. Me in high school didn't really get along just for the fact because I knew it was BS and
I did too.
I hated it so much. I didn't even want to go to my own graduation. My mom forced me because she wanted to get pictures. And where are those pictures now, Mom? Huh? I like lost my the day of my graduation. We went to a restaurant and I lost my diploma.
I don't know how he did that, but he did.
And I got accepted to the university, and they're like, "Oh, you're foreign. Here's money." So you don't, guys, just be foreign. Go back to somewhere and get born there, and
yeah.
Free college.
But that's A1 advice. If you could take anything out of this podcast,
seriously, dude, like just be foreign.
Okay, well, I wanted to actually clarify because I'm not saying that you have to go to every school function to like make the most of a situation. It's basic. It's determined on how you feel about it. So if you don't want to be a part of those things and that's how you make the most of it, then that's fine. Like do something else. You know, if you want to focus more on like your grades and not focus on like the social stuff, then just do that. You know, there's plenty of options. That doesn't mean you have to be a part of everything, because that's just stupid. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Just make what you can out of what you have, you know? Mm-hmm. Try to find something for yourself, for you. This is for you. You don't have to please everybody else.
Yeah, the most important thing is not really allowing other people to use you, because after high school you realize how unimportant your friends were in high school. Like the only good thing that your friends are for high school is like not how do I word this? If you don't want to find if you don't want a random roommate, you just choose your friend from high school. That's what they're really good for. And
yeah.
that's really about it. And
I would disagree kind of, but
really?
I would disagree because I think that there's some friends that I have from high school that I still love, you know, and it's still.
You could love a lion, but it'll still eat you. I'm just saying, you know, like love, it's not always mutual. I mean, it's high school. People realize that. Like, when it comes down to the end of the day, even if you do go to the same university, there are still odds that you're going for the same major, and you will compete, and then all of a sudden you will hate each other. I'm not, like, trying to be pessimistic on this world.
Sounds pessimistic.
But it is, like, everyone's selfish at the end of the day, because if, like, just because we're friends, I'm not going to, like, quit my job just so you
Well,
like
duh.
have a better chance getting in the position that I wanted to. No,
Duh, that's not what. That's. Did I say that at all?
well, I'm saying it's very competitive. It's so
Yeah,
competitive.
but that's college and that's future. That's not high school. High school's not competitive like that.
It's not, but like I've heard of pretty bad stories where people get like they're still like doing their prerequisites and they're going to the same major and they got all butthurt at each other like, well, you're doing what I'm doing, and like there's only one position for that.
Well, okay. Well, let's just move on from that whole thing. Well, maybe we'll do a whole segment on college or something in the future when we can dive into more of our beef with it, I guess. But let's end this on a good note. I think that would be good. It would just to let you guys know we tried our best with high school, okay? I mean, every experience is our own, or is your own, you know? There's not really one way to do it. So our advice may be different than your advice, and that's totally fine. It's just from what we've experienced, from how we've dealt with it, this is what we give to you, is just try your best and be yourself and don't sweat the small stuff. You know, my mom always used to say that to me. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just keep moving, you know? 4 years of your life, even though it's 4 years, it's still only 4 years. You look back and you be like, all right, high school, whatever.
That's a
and
lot
then
of
move on.
time.
Okay, but for you, it's a lot of time. For me, I still got a lot of life left, you know? I've got a lot of things
What are you trying
to
to
do.
say? I'm dying at
No,
20?
but you say you are using your view is saying that's a lot of your life, but also I'm saying 4 years of my life, yeah, it's
It
gone,
is.
but there's still things that I took out of it that that's what I'm saying. I'm taking what I can from what that experience was, which wasn't great, and moving on. I have my fist in the air, and I'm
Okay.
not afraid to use it.
Black Panther, can you chill out on that? The only reason this episode is just so out of order and like really weird sounding is just because I don't like it really like you know when you have a dream and you
Oh, name that vine.
okay guys, good night.
You didn't even finish your sentence.
I don't know how. I should have stayed in school.
You did stay in school.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We believe no matter what path you choose, if it's heroin
No.
or finishing high school or not finishing high school or going to college and dropping out of college or becoming a doctor in college, doesn't matter as long as you find your gift, and because whatever your gift is and you go into it and you put in like 5,000 hours, you will be really good at it. And once you put 10,000 hours into it, then you'll be like the world's best person at it. It's that simple.
Yeah, I think, yeah. That's all we can say. Take all this with a grain of salt and a little bit of sugar. And that was a bad joke. But let's stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, our last episode in our series for about senior year. Because obviously, if we're going to end anything, we need to end it on senior year. Does that make sense? So, logic.
Brain.
This is what I learned from high school.
That's one thing you've never learned in high school.
What?
There's never been a class on critical thinking / logic.
Anyways.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.